Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday.
Hello, Walnut. It is me, Laz, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. This week, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been in my vortex for a wee while now, and it's a little bit about accountability. I've got a little bit of a story to share with you, but basically, I want to talk about how with accountability, you can really surprise yourself, essentially. So one thing that's been coming up a lot for me in the people that I'm speaking with is how people want so badly to be a part of something or have something happen to them without actually putting in the work. And I feel like I've been a little bit, I've been impacted, or I've been hearing about people impacted, where people want to be held accountable and want to be aided with doing the things, but not actually do the things themselves. So it's kind of like that thing. Let me know if you resonate with this, Walnut, but like I remember when I was younger and I didn't want to like work out, and this was when I had a really nice body, air quotes, back then, but I just wanted to take a magic pill and all of a sudden be toned and tan and have abs and not have to go and train, because I don't like running on the treadmill or doing any form of exercise really. So it's a little bit like that, where I've had people say to me, yeah, but I want to do it, but you have to take me there. So yeah, it's just been a little bit interesting. I hope this makes sense. Let me know. But the story that I wanted to tell you about this, Walnut, and I hope that this kind of like helps you a little bit with your own personal accountability, was I had that feeling so bad when I first started my walnut journey, especially because I remember, as you know, I love Viola Hug, and I've been following her. I found her from her podcast, which was called the Abundant Babes podcast at the time. And so I found this podcast, and I've been following along for a while, and I started following her on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. And she had this thing where it was like, if you shared a story or something and tagged her or whatever as to why you want to be, and not why you want to be, why you are an abundant babe, you could, I don't remember what the prize was, whether it be a guest on her podcast or be featured or get a shout out or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, I definitely want to be on it. I want to be interviewed on her podcast. And at this point, I didn't have my podcast. I hadn't even done a program with her. I was just kind of like following on like a little banana. So I was like, oh, I want to be on her podcast. But like, I wanted her to ask me to be on her podcast, even though she kind of at that time had absolutely zero reason to ask me to be on her podcast, because how was I putting myself out there? Not at all. I was a little peanut at the time. So that was that. But that feeling that, oh yeah, but you just take me, or yeah, but I'll just want to swallow the pill and then like have the body that I'll be happy with and love my body all of a sudden. That whole thing about not wanting to do the things. And to be honest, Walnut, I mean, doing the things is actually hard. So nobody wants it to be hard. I mean, there are easy ways about doing it, but the journey, especially a walnut journey, you do have to eat a little bit of poop every once in a while and swallow your own poop a lot. And swallow other people's poop. There's a lot of poop. There's a lot of shit. So anyway, I digress. So I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I really, really want this. little did I know, I mean, I'm looking at all of this in hindsight now, so it feels like really fast, but I ended up just doing very small little baby steps. As you know, I love the baby steps. Very, very small steps to put myself out there. I did things like I shared her podcast because I loved her podcast, and I especially shared the episodes that where there were little snippets that really resonated with me. I joined a program. I looked into my self-developicals and, started my little walnut journey and all the things. And one thing looking back that I realize now is that you can actually adjust your environment to externalize your mindset, kind of thing. So by what I mean, an example of what I mean by that, Walnut, is what I was doing was I got really sick of, and this was not intentional. Well, it was subconscious, but what I noticed was I was getting really sick of my Instagram feed. I was getting sick of people I knew. I was getting sick of the things that I followed because all clothes on little twigs and made me feel really bad about myself. The stuff I was following just wasn't nice. So Viola's podcast at the time had a new guest as an interviewee every episode. So what I did was I just started following the people that she interviewed, and all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, after some time, my newsfeed was full of positive, great mindset hacks, woo-woo crystal stuff that I love, full of stuff that not only interests me but motivates me to do better. And that was a tiny action of just cleaning out my Instagram feed. And so my mindset at the time, which was all these things are making me feel like shit about myself, it was external. What am I trying to say? My mindset, I was able to do a small action to kind of make my outside world impact and switch over my mindset. Am I making sense? I hope you kind of get what I mean, Walnut. It's I just don't really, yeah. But I guess the moral of this, Walnut, is that it does stem from being honest with yourself. I had to really as much as unintentional I was, I had to be intentional and notice and realize, oh, this is actually making me feel like shit about myself. Get what I mean? Anyway, so not long later, maybe not even a year, guess who starts a podcast? Me. Guess who starts a Facebook group? Me. Guess who becomes brave and all the things and still continues to do it? Me. And guess who fucking got invited to be a guest on the Abundant Babes podcast? Me. And it's still the best day of my life. I thought the best day of my life was when I got invited. Then I thought the best day of my life was when we recorded it, because I was so scarce-sighted. I just didn't even know what the hell I was going to say. But the best day was when it aired, because I think it's such a milestone achievement. So my moral of this week's episode, Walnut, is accountability doesn't have to be the big grand things, and nor does being intentional. Accountability can literally just be a tiny thing, such as deleting or unfollowing something on Instagram, or doing one more rep at the gym, and little, you know me, Walnut, little baby steps over time do lead to you getting to a place like where I am now, where I am it's just kind of I've taken the pill and it's done it for me, but I actually did it myself, which feels so much more rewarding, and I can put my hand up and say that I did that and smack myself on the butt for it. So little example, I know it's not a big oh my god, quit my job and move to 300 different countries or something like that, but it's definitely a win. And it definitely is like my personal evidence that I can hold myself accountable, and it doesn't need to actually be that hard. And that's all I got. And that's all I got, Walnut. So I hope you resonate with this episode. I hope it makes sense. And let me know what you think about this, and let me know if you are or have been a person that is just like, oh, I just wish they would just reach out and ask me. It's like when you're in the crowd and you want the lead singer to notice you, and you're like being mysterious, but they don't actually notice you because there's a million people in the crowd. Notice yourself. You know what I mean? Give yourself, you are the snack. You are the delicious, mysterious, cool one. And pat your own self on the butt, because I feel like it's almost more rewarding when you get that outcome that you kind of desire in the end. So yeah, so let me know if you've had that feeling, or if you've got an example of where you've had that feeling and then you've done the things like similar to me. I'd love to hear from you. And if you feel like it, join the Walnut Tree on Facebook and share in there. It's a really lovely vibe, and I'd love to hear all of your stories, and maybe we could have a little discussion on when times that we've done something like this. But you can be accountable, because you are delicious and beautiful and sexy and amazing. So happy Walnut Wednesday, Walnut. I hope I haven't waffled too much, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.